What's going on out there, everybody? My name is Ray, and I'm with Clean Home Power Washing out of North Carolina. I hope everybody's doing well and killing it out there. January is almost up. We're in 2020. We're transitioning over into the busy season. Spring's gonna be here before you know it. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about what your truck office is set up like. What are some things that you're doing in your truck for your mobile office, and how is it set up to be able to be efficient and to maximize your lead generation and your operations and all those other things. And on top of that, I'm also going to be going and doing a estimate on a big commercial job. That's a question that I get a lot, and that's a question that I had a lot when I was just now getting in. How do you bid the big jobs? What do you do? How did you get that job? What do you do when you get there? How do you price the job out? All these other things. And so we're gonna be going in that, so check it out. All right, so let's dive straight into this. Now I'm kind of in a little bit of a hurry, but really quick, I'm gonna go through this and tell you exactly how I have my mobile office set up. Now this video is geared towards owner operators, people that's just a one-man show that may have a helper. Maybe you could even have two trucks, but you're doing all of the sales and operations yourself on the fly. So this is for guys that are pretty much getting started, and I'm gonna share what's helped me and what's worked for me the most in my small business here. So first and foremost, let's get to the very basics of necessity when it comes to your mobile office. Number one is going to be a contractor notepad. This thing, you can put every little thing that you got going on. Just having access to this notepad at all times is huge. This is what's gonna keep your mind straight. When you got all these things going on, having the ability to grab a pen and start writing on that notepad is gonna help you hash things out and not get sidetracked, because when you get busy, if you've already been doing this, you know it gets a little bit crazy. So you need something to write down things on so you can kind of like stay in line with what's going on. The second, maybe the most important tool that you could have, is a simple to-do list. Writing down each and everything that comes up in your mind that's of any importance. When you know it's something, hey, that's pretty important, it goes on the to-do list. As soon as it's getting written down, boom, it's on the dash. We're not worried about it, we're not thinking about it. We start procrastinating, we start getting off track. Guess what? We go back to the to-do list. Oh yeah, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And also, it kind of gives you time to revisit certain ideas. Say you had an idea, you thought it was something you needed to be focusing on, you put it on here, you go back later, you look at it, you say, no, that wasn't as important as I thought it was. It gives you that second thought. So if you have any problem with attention deficit, you got ADD, before you go and spend a bunch of money on all kinds of different medicines and doctors and everything else, go buy a little cheap $5 to-do list, and I'm willing to bet you your ADD will be cured. You're welcome. The next thing is gonna be these little address books. And what these are great for is your networking. So when you're going out and about, you're in the field and you're meeting people, you're meeting property managers, you're meeting HOA presidents and people that you work for that just so happen to own businesses and commercial property. All of a sudden now you're networking, not to mention other contractors and small service providers in the area. Next thing you know, now you've developed somewhat of a referral network. And when you start referring business to others, guess what? That's coming back like a boomerang. Givers gain. Start referring other people work, your windows and siding guys, your roofers, your landscapers. Become friends with these people, because for one, who doesn't need another good friend? Friends are great, so make friends with them. And what's better than a friend that's gonna refer you some business? I can't think of much. But anyway, I'm gonna try to keep this video quick, because like I said, actually I'm probably just gonna roll out and take you guys with me and do the rest of it on the road. That's probably the best thing to do, so I'm not late. But the next thing is going to be a tablet. This tablet has made things run exponentially smoother, because what I was running into is You know, I had my smartphone, I had my CRM on the smartphone, and before I go into anything else, if you don't have a CRM, a customer relations management tool, get one now. If you don't have the money, as soon as you do have the money, you build some revenue, get a CRM. Don't try to figure it out and get it later like I did, because what's gonna happen, you'll lose a lot of money. Get it and figure it out. Don't try to figure it out and then get it, because you'll end up losing money. But the tablet, so I was running into this problem where when it would pick up and I would start getting, you know, anywhere between 10 to 15 calls in a day, and I'm trying to do the jobs that I had scheduled plus do all the other stuff that has to do with operations. I was getting to where I would need to use my phone for either doing an estimate or researching something or doing my content, whatever the case is, and then I'll be getting phone calls or something. But when I implemented the tablet, I was able to use this for everything while I'm talking to customers on the phone, so I could actually input all their information instead of trying to put them on speakerphone and I got other people in the area driving by and making noise and people coming up. I got them on my Bluetooth headset, and I can actually input everything on the tablet where it's more blown up, and it was just a lot more user friendly, and my phone would be free. So it just made things a lot better. You can manage with just a phone. I did it, but when I implemented the tablet, one, it made me look more professional when I went and did estimates, because I would bring the tablet with me and input everything and show the customers the packages. That worked great. So, and that's basically it. The next thing is going to be, what kind of arsenal are you bringing with you in your office? So when you're riding around, this is your tank. You know, this is the most important aspect, aside from your website and what you're doing for your SEO and how you're advertising and marketing digitally. But actual, like, physically, you know, what are you doing? Print marketing works great. Obviously, you can pass out ball caps and stuff to good customers. Your clip flyers is something that I implement. I've made a personal goal to put out 100 a day. Actually thinking about bumping that up some. But what I'm seeing from print marketing materials, your door hangers, your clip flyers, your little small you know, business cards, the little magnets that you get, I've seen about a 1% return, and that's kind of common from what I've heard from other people, is about a 1%. So if you put out 100 flyers, door hangers, business cards, then what you can expect is one phone call. So there's some data for you. If you put out 100, you're going to get a phone call statistically, and then it's up to you to try to convert that into a customer. But anyway, another thing I do is the yard signs. Every customer gets a yard sign. There's another goal that I had last year, and I'm still trying to hash out. I've got goals laid out on my calendar this year, but last year, one of my goals was 10 signs a week. You know, put out 10 signs a week, whether that meant it was going in a customer's yard or it was going on a nice intersection where I knew that people were going to stop and really have to see that sign, or either ignore it or see it. 10 signs a week was a goal of mine. You know, can these signs get expensive? Yeah, they can. They can get up to about $500 for 100 if you're getting the double-sided 18 by 24 nice printed sign. But these signs work. This print marketing works. It wouldn't be such a huge business if it didn't. If you're a person or you are talking to somebody and they say it doesn't work, don't go to them anymore for advice, because they're a liar. It works. And it works really well. So one quick tip about the signs is blow up what you're offering and the number, and all the other stuff, keep it really small. What you're offering and the phone number where they can call you, and then everything else, if you want to make it look good, keep it all really small. Don't take up the real estate on the sign with stuff that's really not as important. People want to know what you can do for them and how they can get in touch with you. So that's what it is. Now, a little bit about what I got going on here. So several months ago, I was at a point where, you know, business wasn't booming, the weather really wasn't cooperating like I wished it would, and I started to feel a little bit down and out. Now, when things like that happen, you got a couple options. Option A is, you can reschedule your jobs for the day, or you can sit on Facebook and argue about petty matters, or you can sit on YouTube all day researching until your eyes go blurry, or you can go out and grow your business by taking action. And that's what I happened to do on that rainy day when things really weren't going the best. My business wasn't booming. Things were just kind of slow. So what I did is I started going out to large businesses and just handing my business card out, seeing, if there was any interest out there. And what I did is I walked into a medical building, found the very first floor of the office. I didn't know which door to walk into, so I just walked into the first door that I came to and found a woman at an office desk, and went up and just introduced myself. Hey, my name's Ray Notario. I'm with Clean Home Power Washing. I drive by the building here all the time and notice that it could really use some TLC, and that's what I do. So if you could point me in the right direction of who I would talk to, who manages the property here, I would really appreciate it. And the woman was more than happy to help. We talked for a little bit, and she actually went out and spent a few minutes going around the office there talking to people, and found the information and got me the email of the guy that actually manages the property. Score, right? So I'm like, cool. I got the email. Tell the lady, have a nice day. Go back out to the truck immediately. Get on the iPad or the tablet. I started typing up a nice little email, explaining what I could do for them, what I seen, and sent that bad boy. Well, crickets. I didn't hear anything. It was just a complete dud. And several months go by. Well, gosh, that had to have been back in November. It had to have been at least November. Things were starting to slow down. The weather wasn't right. But anyway, so a couple weeks ago, out of the blues, guess what? I get an email at 11 o'clock at night saying, so I assume that you can handle the height of this building. So I respond, yeah, absolutely, sir. We have the capabilities and training to handle any property, is what my response was, I believe. And I went into some other details, and then he responded that not only did he want an estimate on the building that I inquired about, he also wanted me to give him an estimate on the exterior windows, on the entire building wash, on all the concrete surfaces. And not only did he want me to give an estimate on that building, he gave me the address to another building that he wanted the exact same thing on. So guys, there's so much value in just getting up, going out, and passing that card out, handing that flyer out, shaking that hand, introducing yourself. Don't ever be scared or nervous to just walk in somewhere and say, hey, my name is such and such with such and such power wash. How are you doing today? And hand them that card, because the seeds that you plant today is the harvest that you're going to reap tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe even next year. But always be in relationship building mode. But anyway, I'm done rattling about all that. We're going to get on with this estimate, and we'll get back with you here in just a second. All right, fellas, so we're here. This is it in the background. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than what I remember it being. Whew, actually a little bit nervous about this one. But you know what they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and a man ain't gonna learn how to be a professional pressure washer in a day neither. So I think we'll be all right. I'm actually gonna pull over here and we'll take a look at everything real quick. All right, fellas, let's go take a look at this thing. The only thing I'll bring with me is my notepad and tablet to put some information into. But what I normally do is when I pull up and start to look at the property, I like to do a quick walk around first, because you never know, you may see something on the property that's a deal breaker, and you don't want to put an hour worth of time into walking around doing this estimate and then get to a section of the building and say, dang, this is something that really needs to be addressed. Maybe it's something you can't clean, or who knows. But what I like to do is do that quick walk around. But just for video's sake, I will kind of go through the process. So when doing these big jobs, these big estimates, you know, this guy's had me give him a quote on washing the whole building, doing all the concrete around the building. It doesn't really look like there's a super big amount of concrete, and also all of the windows on the building. So I'm gonna have to get a count on the windows, and that's an easy way to do the bid for those. Now, with the actual building itself, you know, a lot of this is like with concrete, maybe EIFS. You know, it's good to get the specs on the building if you can find out all the specs, and that way you're aware of what all materials are on the building. A lot of times you can get that from the property manager. But as far as the building wash, now the way I like to do these jobs like this is not try to figure out what the square footage is, but just eyeball it and take a look and see, and to ask myself, you know, I'll get the notepad together and I'll start thinking about how long it's going to take me to apply to certain areas, what all I'm going to need to bring to the table, and then I'll think, how long will it take me for this section here? And then, so say I say that this is going to take me, you know, 2 hours to do that section right there, and then I got 2 more sections the same size. I'll just multiply it by 3, and I'll come up with a dollar amount that I need to make hourly in order for my business to be profitable, you know, within the model that I'm running. And that's what I'll do. I'll charge by the hour, because when you're on a job like this, you can't really go off of square footage, because with these buildings, the square footage can get insane, and there's just no way that you're going to be competitive with other service providers unless they just haven't gotten another quote, which is rarely ever the case. I think a lot of them have a policy where they have to get a few different quotes. So same deal with the concrete. I'm trying not to show the name because I know a couple people are sneaky, but you know, it's a very large building. You know, this is going to be on up there. I've already talked to them about the price. They know it's going to be a lot. So that's another good thing, is to just go ahead and establish that it's going to be a high ticket, and make sure that they're not going to be sticker shocked and you're not going to waste their time and your time. But this concrete's not too bad. You know, I'll go ahead and give them the quote on all the concrete, the building. You know, it's good to just take little looks around and notice little things, like maybe you got some dirt dauber nest that's going to take you quite some time. You know, little different things that you can set the expectation with the prospect. And you know, the same deal that I did with the building, I'll do with the concrete. You know, I'll look at it and I'll say, well, how much time is it going to take me? And then I'll just add that number down on the estimate and figure that out and charge them that hourly rate. I mean, you got to be careful, make sure you're not going to screw yourself over, but that's where the experience comes in. So, and here's another thing, like little stuff like this. He didn't mention anything about this fountain, but as you can see, it's filthy. I mean, it needs to be cleaned out. It's also got tons of black algae all over it. So I can throw this in the proposal with it, and you know, even if he doesn't want it cleaned, now I've got something I can use as leverage. If say he says the price is a little higher than what he thought, I could offer to throw that in for free as a little incentive, or a little nudge in the right direction. So anyway, that's basically it, fellas. The really cool thing about this job is, like I was telling you earlier, it actually turned into a whole nother job. So he wants me to give him an estimate on all the windows, the building, and all the concrete over here as well. And he seems really motivated to use us as a service provider. So I'm gonna get this thing done, get it turned in. One real quick tip is, when you put the estimate in, attach pictures to the email and actually show them the pictures of the dirty areas, and that can help out, and also gives you a little bit of you know, you're doing your due diligence as far as getting pictures of what the property would look like before you start. All right, fellas, so I went down there and did the estimate on the other building, and I'm all wrapped up. I got all the information that I need. And you know, with the jobs like this, one thing to really keep in mind before you start going after them is they take a long time to be finalized. You do have to have all the proper insurance. You're going to need workman's comp insurance. You're going to need probably $2 million general liability insurance. You're also going to need probably $1 million worth of aggregate on a commercial policy, because they have to have all their I's dotted on things like this. And really, you want to make sure you know what you're doing, because if you get caught up with some surfaces, you want to make sure you know how to get them clean, because you can get in a bind quick if you don't know what you're doing, and you don't have a good solid foundation. But anyway, lastly, I want to just mention that a lot of times these companies like this are also on the net 30, net 60, and you might be waiting a couple months to get paid. So keep that in mind too, and make sure that you're in a spot where you can invest the money, because I don't know, I've never even asked for a deposit, but I wouldn't think that they would give you one. Maybe they would, I don't know. But anyway, that's it, fellas. Don't be afraid to go for it, and hope for the best. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the content, please hit that subscribe button. It helped me out a lot. Just hit me with a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.